a problem there, Laura?
My zipper is just a little bit stuck here.
Actually, I don't think it's stuck. I think it's broken. Can you see there? Look, it's busted.
I think there's just something caught up in it.
You know what? Let me help you.
It's fine. I'm just going to work at it.
I got something here that will fix that. Stand back. Just come out
What
with
are you
it.
doing? No.
It's my sawzall. I'm going to fix it.
No, you're not. Not my bag.
No, it's a power tool. It fixes everything.
If you're not careful, you're just going to make it worse.
No, it never makes things worse. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, one solution doesn't fix every problem, Andy.
Well, they generally, you know, I'm good with power tools. It fixes most things for me. I mean, what do you mean?
Well, that's just not how the world works.
How come?
Well, we've been talking a lot about the problem of poverty, and poverty is a problem, and we want to fix it.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Surely that's our job, isn't it?
But how are we trying to fix it?
Well, we often want to do things to actually make things better. Maybe a missions trip or a service project, perhaps.
Well, and what does the average person think about when they hear about a service project or a mission trip?
Tell you what I think about. Power tools, baby. I want to get in there. I want to fix things. I want to maybe build a school or construct an orphanage. Just get in there, take my stuff, get it there, fix the problem.
And what do you notice about all of those solutions?
Well, they're about transferring resources or things that I have materially to people who don't have them. And there's nothing wrong with that, surely.
Yeah, so if you've defined the problem as a lack of some sort of resource, whether it's a school or food or clothing, you're going to try and provide whatever it is that's missing to fix it.
Yeah, and I don't see what's wrong with that, because surely that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, you're saying that mission trips and service trips are wrong, because I know you've done them, I've done them. I'm not entirely sure I'm seeing the problem here.
Well, it's not quite as simple as that. We talked in the last session about how our ideas about poverty are largely influenced by our culture and worldview, and how you define a problem is going to determine how you try and solve it. So I think we need to ask ourselves, where do our ideas about poverty come from?
And as we previously said, our ideas about most things are really formed by our background, our social conditioning, our family, education, where we grew up. But there's a place that we go to quite often nowadays to get our ideas about most things we want to find out about. So that would be the media, or maybe social media, particularly in today's world.
So if you don't know about something, where's the first place that you're going to go?
I'll tell you where I go. I go to the interweb, because Google, it never lies, you know.
So based on what you've seen on the internet, I want you to blurt out the first thing that comes to mind when I say Rwanda.
Seriously, blurt it out right now.
Is it maybe something a little bit like this? Or what about this picture? How about this one? So Andy, when we looked at those images, what did you think about them? Are they accurate, relatable?
Well, I'm sure they're accurate because they're real pictures. They don't look photoshopped, but in terms of relatable, they don't impact my everyday experience, no.
And how do they make you feel? Do they make you want to do something?
Well, they do. They make me feel very emotional, and I do want to get involved. And I think that's what those images are for. They're meant to trigger me to action, surely, aren't they?
Yeah. Images are important to the stories that we tell and the truth that we create. And for a long time, images of Africa have focused on issues of material poverty. But is that really the best way to tell the story of our friends in those types of situations? Are they just a child with a flower in their eye?
It's actually a really good point, Laura, because for many, many years, this kind of image has come to epitomize Africa and many parts of the majority world. That's actually why we call this session the fly in the eye syndrome. But those of us who traveled to places like that have really realized that that's only one part of the story. And in fact, this kind of image is an oversimplified and inaccurate picture of what's really going on in Africa and all across the world, actually. And if we're not careful, we can take that oversimplified and inaccurate picture and come up with the wrong solutions to the problems that are being presented to us, the things we're being triggered to do.
So when the media provides an image of poverty that's based purely on a lack of resources, the obvious thing that we want to do is provide whatever it is that's missing. But like we talked about in the last session, poverty at its root is actually broken relationships. So when we provide whatever it's lacking, sometimes we're just providing a band-aid to the deeper issue, which is a broken relationship. And if we take this a bit further as Christians, we come to a really dangerous conclusion. And that is that we, the materially non-poor Christians of the West, are bringing God to wherever it is that we're serving.
And that really is dangerous, because the reality of the fact is that God's already there. He's everywhere in his creation. And more than that, his people are probably already there as well, doing amazing things in their local communities that they're called and uniquely gifted for. So if we go in with our Western fix-it attitude, with oversimplified and inaccurate picture of what should be done, we can actually make a true mess of the situation. And more than that, if we don't go in with an attitude of humility, we can miss what God wants to do in us and through us as we enter into his process of restoration.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot to reflect upon there. So we've given you some discussion questions. Let's talk about that. As we've been talking about, these oversimplified and inaccurate images of poverty can actually lead us to solutions that make things worse rather than better. There's another problem that comes up with them as well. It's like somebody coming into your home on your worst day, taking one picture, and then that image is used to represent you for the rest of your life. That can really reinforce a sense of otherness.
Yeah, and otherness is a very important concept for us here at Just Us. Otherness happens when we treat people as not quite the same as us. They're a little bit different, maybe not quite as good, they are the others. Taken to its logical extreme, otherness can lead to genocides, such as what happened in Rwanda in 1994, where 1 million people were killed because they were different from another people group. Or you can look at what happened in Nazi Germany during the Second World War, with the Holocaust when 6 million Jews were killed. Otherness is dangerous and it's insidious, and it combats one of the beliefs that we strongly feel is important within the Christian worldview, and that is that we are all in this together. There is no other, there's just us.
Othering can have some more subtle effects as well. When we presented this to a group of youth, one of them automatically connected it to a homeless man in his community. He realized that people had othered that person. They hadn't gotten to know his name, his story, or anything else about his life. And he wanted to go back and find out a little bit more, because maybe he wasn't so different after all.
And yeah, we've experienced this in Rwanda ourselves. I remember a few years ago when you and I took a group of young people there to meet with a group of young Rwandan people. So you had the Canadians on one side of a room and the Rwandans on another side of the room at the beginning of the trip, liking each other, but trying to figure out how to connect. Cut to 3 weeks later, we're in the corner of a field, we're watching that same group, but now there's not two, there's one. They're running around, they're kicking a football, they're enjoying each other's company in small groups. They're realizing that we're not so different, and actually they've become great friends. That's the story of why we're here. The fact that there aren't others, there's just us. Every human being is valuable. Every single one of us counts, and every single one of us is unique. And that's why we say, there is no other, there's just us. And in fact, there's many parts of the Bible that makes this very clear.
Yeah, in Matthew 25, Jesus says, "Whatever you do to the least of these, you do to me." And that completely demolishes other thinking. It's a commandment. It's an you're in or you're out kind of thing. It's really important to Jesus how we treat other people.
Yeah, so we've given you a lot to think about here, so we want you to reflect on this a bit more as you think about ways in which other thinking has impacted you. So we have some questions for you. So let's talk about that. Sorry, do it again. And there's nothing wrong with that, surely.
Oh wait, I forgot to say the poverty bit. Yeah.
For goodness sake, do try and be professional.
Do Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Is
We'll do it one more time.
I used a men's body wash this morning. Is it because I smell like a man?
It actually was quite good up to that.
Except for my brain was blank, so I was just doing what you do, talking. It's gonna go off the rails real quick.
So Laura, as we...
He was still on the
Stupid lock thing, just you have to... Oh no, I want that muffin really bad, sharp. I'm gonna have to go and get one now. Every time we get a little further.
a little further. Little.